Golf Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Lack, and I'll be joined alongside Action Golf contributor Tony Sartori for these Best Bets episodes. Tony and I will play 18 holes today, giving our 9 favorite picks for this week's tour event. The Shriners Hospital for Children Open. Okay, Tony, we're on the first tee here for our Shriners Best Bets. Get us started.
As always, I'm going to kick us off in the outright market and start with Taylor Pendrith at 25 to 1. So TPC Summerlin hosts the Shriners Children's Open once again, which is done annually over the past couple of decades. This course is a par 71, plays just over 7,200 yards, designed by Bobby Reed, and it really just rewards strong approach play. It's a pretty straightforward course. There's some hazards we got to avoid, but we just got to hit the greens and convert on the birdie opportunities. So last season, 4 of the top 6 finishers here ranked 7th or higher among the field in strokes gained on the approach, the only metric or statistic in which such a trend occurred. 19.3% of approach shots came from 150 to 175 yard range, which is the largest distribution of any of the 25-yard range groupings. Therefore, I'm looking kind of at two things this week. One, birdie or better percentage from that range, because it should be a pretty scoreable course once again. As well as overall approach play, and then finally recent form to help narrow down our best bets. And that brings me back to Pendrith, who's one of the tournament favorites at 25 to 1. He ended last season in dominant form, posting 5 straight top 25 finishes, including a pair of top 5 finishes. He's gained true strokes on the approach in all 5 of those events. He ranks 48th on tour in birdie or better percentage from that aforementioned 150, 175 yard range. And then, given how well this course profiles for Pendrith, we shouldn't be surprised they finished tied for third here last season, and I expect an even better outing from him this week. So, kicking us off is Taylor Pendrith at 25 to 1.
I'm gonna stick in the outright market with another player in that range. I've got Tom Hoge, 33 to 1. You mentioned the importance of approach. This is one of the easier driving courses on the PGA Tour, ranked 44th out of 45 courses in off the tee difficulty last year. It's got pretty wide fairways. Yes, you've got to avoid the desert, but the playing corridors are so wide and the golf course is so short that it's really only going to penalize the massive miss off the tee. And if you're worried about the massive miss, then you could even club down and still have your fair share of short irons in because the golf course playing at altitude just a hair over 7,000 yards. It's already one of the shortest golf courses and one of the least long iron intensive golf courses on tour. That brings me to Tom Hoge, who is the best short to middle iron player in this field. You filter out any approach stats on shorter golf courses where he is going to have a ton of shots inside 175 yards. Tom Hoge is the number one player in this field. It's not a surprise that he's got some great course history as well. 4 top 25 finishes in 8 appearances here, including a fourth place finish in 2022. Give me the best approach player in this field. I'll take my chances with the putter on a second shot golf course where the name of the game is sticking your wedges. I'll roll with Tom Hoge, 33 to 1.
Yep, I love it. And in traditional fashion for our podcast, I have Hoge in the first round leader market at 45 to 1. I love him in any market this week. We always kind of talk about Hoge in courses that are second shot courses that reward strong approach players, and that is Hoge to a tee, right? And speaking of the tee, his one problem is off the tee. And as you highlighted, this is a course where that's pretty much nullified. He's above the tour average of first round scoring, which is kind of why I'm targeting him at 45 to 1 in the first round leader market. But I love him in every market. I was looking at him outright as well, top 10, top 20. I think you can really attack him anywhere. He's also 12th in birdie or better percentage from 150 to 175 yards, which again, not surprising. He's such a good approach player. And you already mentioned the course history, he finished fourth here in 2023, seventh in 2018. He's got 4 top 25s here over his past 6 appearances. This course profiles well for Hoge, very well for Hoge in a pretty weak field. I like him in every market. I love him in your outright market. I'm also going to take him in the first round leader at 45 to 1.
I am going to stick in the outright market with another player that I was on last week. He's around the same number as well. I bet Seamus Power, 33 to 1. He was my pick to win at the Black Desert. He came up short, finished 11th, gaining strokes in all 4 major categories. This is Seamus Power's second top 12 finish in a row. He also finished top 12 at the Sanderson Farms, gaining strokes in all 4 major categories. And the irons really came alive for him last week at the Black Desert. There's a reason why Seamus Power always raises his baseline in easy scoring conditions. There's a reason why he always raises his baseline on Birdie Fest. There's a reason why he's the number one player in this field during fall swing events. The majority of fall swing events are primarily on these wedge fests, these easy scoring golf courses. This is just Seamus Power's jam. He's a phenomenal wedge player and he has a ton of upside with his putter. He's one of the better putters in this field from 5 to 15 feet, right? So you talk about those two things that I'm looking at this week: short to middle iron play and putting from 5 to 15 feet. If you check one of those boxes, I think you have a pathway to winning the Shriners. If you check both of those boxes, I think you are an absolute must play. Seamus is checking both of those boxes for me. So I'm rolling with Seamus Power 33 to 1.
I'm gonna stay in the outright market as well and go after another guy around that price, and that's Eric Cole at 40 to 1. So this guy's been in awesome form. He's made the weekend in 9 of his past 10 tournaments. He finished sixth at the Rocket Mortgage, seventh at the John Deere, seventh at the Wyndham, and his most recent tournament was 16th at the Sanderson Farms. The majority of these tournaments have been against tougher competition than what we will see this week, maybe outside of the John Deere. But another thing that I like with his recent form is how well his approach play has been. He's gained true strokes on the approach in eight of those 10 tournaments, and he ranks 40th on tour in birdie or better percentage from that 150 to 175-yard distance, which means he profiles well for this course, which shouldn't be all that surprising because he finished third here, tied for third here last year, alongside Pendrith, who I was already on earlier. These are two guys who are playing very well recently and are kind of leaning on their approach game. And this course rewards that. So with their course history and their recent play, that's kind of based on good approach play. I think either one of those two can make that jump from 3 to maybe 1 this week. So that's why I like Eric Cole at 40 to 1.
Yeah, that was my next play. Same play, outright market. Usually we got one in the first round, later one in the outright market. But I bet Eric Cole 40 to 1 as well. I like him all the way down to there's some 33s out there. I actually think it's a really good number. I was prepared to bet Cole at lower than 40. I mean, you look at his course history here, he finished third last year. And you talk about kind of that skill set of wedge play and putting, right? Eric Cole, again, similar to Seamus Power, similar to a couple more of the players that I'm going to talk about later on in this podcast. Eric Cole checks both of those boxes. I think that he could win this golf tournament with his wedges. I think that he could win this golf tournament with his putter. And you think about what Eric Cole's weakest aspect of his game is, it's off the tee, right? He's not a great driver of the ball by any means. I think the Shriners is one of the few golf courses on tour that's really going to mitigate off the tee skills, super, super wide fairways. I mean, not a tremendous advantage to be gained by bombing the ball a long way. The shorter players, shorter, inaccurate players, there's a long list of not great drivers of the ball still being able to succeed. Tom Kim, in fact, in both of his last two victories at the Shriners, did not finish top 30 in off the tee play. You really make your bones on this golf course with your mid to short iron play and your putting. That sounds like Eric Cole to me. I think this is the perfect spot for him to pick up his first PGA Tour victory. Dominant in Birdie Fest, dominant in the fall swing, dominant wedge player, dominant approach player, great recent form. Like I said, great in Birdie Fest, good course history. Give me Eric Cole 40 to 1. That's a great number.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very glad we're on the same page. I'm gonna have another outright guy at that same number also. And was shocked at this number, or I was very shocked at this number. That's Cam Davis at 40 to 1. So I think the reason, honestly, that he's not shorter is because he has not teed it up competitively on tour since August. But if you're still looking at how he finished the season, he made the weekend in 5 of his final 6 events. He won over that stretch. He won the Rocket Mortgage. He finished fifth at the BMW. He gained true strokes on the approach in 4 of those 6 tournaments. He gained true total strokes in 5 of the 6. And honestly, the only thing that he ranks really that he lags behind the rest of his tour competition in usually is driving accuracy. Then there's two things to that. One, as we keep mentioning, that's kind of get nullified this week. And two, even if it does come into play for him a little bit, he has been more accurate off the tee than the field average in 5 of those 6 tournaments I was just talking about. So his one weakness, he has been kind of getting over. And if he's starting to be more accurate off the tee, which again, I'm not even worried about this week to begin with, but if he's starting to do that, then there's not really a weakness in his game. He's a fine putter, good scrambler, he's a very good approach player. I just think there's a lot of ways that Cam Davis can get involved in this birdie fest. So and he has good recent form here. He finished seventh last year. He's never missed a cut here. I was very shocked at 40 to 1 for Cam Davis. And I think the only reason, again, is because he hasn't teed up since the BMW, but I'm taking that number all day.
I am going to take us into the top 10 market with a player that just missed my outright card. I really wanted to bet him this week, but I just didn't have room on the outright card. So I will play him in the top 10 market. Give me Beau Hossler plus 375. I mean, who's playing better than Beau Hossler right now? He backed up his playoff loss. We were on him at the Sanderson Farms. It was a heartbreaking defeat, but he backed it up the next week at the Black Desert, finishing top 12 there. He didn't even putt well. I think what was so encouraging about Hossler's performance at the Black Desert is that he gained over 3 strokes in both ball striking categories, and that is not typically Hossler's strength. So I think Hossler's really found something with the ball striking. Hit the ball great at the Sanderson Farms. Hit the ball great last week too. This is some of the best ball striking that we've seen out of Beau Hossler, and we know that we can rely on him for the short game and the putting. So given the fact that I think something might be there with Hossler's recent approach play, with his recent driving, I'll absolutely take my chances that he'll refine form with the putter, which is historically the biggest strength of his game. He's got some great course history at this track as well. He's got a 7th place finish here last year. Give me Beau Hossler, top 10 plus 375.
I love that. I have one more outright, and that's gonna be JJ Spaun at 45 to 1. So the story here is kind of like we know what we're gonna get out of him with the approach play. He's one of the best approach players in this field. I'm not worried about that at all. Accuracy is gonna be nullified, like we keep talking about. The question I have with Spaun, and it is definitely a concern, but I still think 45 is a good enough number to still play it, is what are we gonna see with the putter? So he ended last season in tremendous form. He finished third at the Wyndham, ninth at the 3M, 10th at the Rocket Mortgage. But at those events, his putter was doing well. Then all of a sudden, the pro core hit, and he didn't really do much with his putter there. Then his putter was awful at Sanderson before he withdrew. And then last week, he kind of got back into form at the Black Desert, but he still lost strokes on the green. So, but he gained true strokes everywhere else. He was more accurate off the tee, longer off the tee, and he gained true total strokes on the field. And that's why he's still able to muster a top 25 finish. So my question is there concern with the putter? And I think there could be, but the reason why I still want to play him at 45 to 1 is he's traditionally putt well at this course. He's gained true strokes putting in 3 of his past 4 events here. He's made the weekend 3 of those 4 outings. He's finished 15th here over that stretch. Even before that stretch, he has 2 other top 15 finishes here. And if he feels comfortable on these greens, that's really the only problem that he would need to address entering this week when you're looking at how he's played recently. So I will take the chance that he just likes these greens. He's going to fare well on them at 45 to 1 for a guy who is one of the best approach players in this field in JJ Spaun.
Glad you glad you brought up Spawn. He actually just missed my card, but I'm a huge fan of him this week as well. I'm gonna stay in the top 10 market with Harry Hall this week, top 10 plus 400. I also bet him outright at 50 to 1. I just think it's a great spot for him. He's obviously played some great golf here in the past. In 3 appearances at the Shriners, Hall has gone eighth, 15th, and 26th. He's a Vegas resident. He's very comfortable on this golf course. He's very comfortable at altitude. This golf course sneakily has some of the stickier course history on the PGA Tour, so you'll notice a theme. A lot of the players that I've mentioned thus far, not only are they great putters, not only are they great mid to short iron players, but they also have some great experience at TPC Summerlin. Not because the golf course is confusing or really plays any tricks on the players, but I think something about the comfortability in Vegas, the comfortability in altitude, kind of you're going to see the same names at the top of the leaderboard year after year. And all Harry Hall has done is prove to us that he is incredibly comfortable on this track. Broke through with his first PGA Tour victory a couple starts ago in Tahoe on another very easy golf course. He is absolutely one of the best putters in this entire field, particularly on bent grass, the surface that he practices on quite a bit in Vegas. Give me Harry Hall top 10 plus 400.
Love that play. I'm gonna go to the top 20 market. I'm gonna go after Ryan Fox at plus 260. This is another guy who profiles similar to what we've been talking about a little bit, and that's going to be the forgiveness off the tee in terms of accuracy with these wide fairways. That is by far Fox's biggest issue on tour is his inability usually to find, or is an inconsistent driver, I should say, and his inability to sometimes find fairways is by far his biggest weakness. That's going to be nullified this week at a course that's going to give a lot of forgiveness off the tee and with fairways that are this wide. And if you look at the rest of his profile, it should be he profiles pretty well. He's above the tour average in strokes gained, true strokes gained on the approach. He just finished 11th at the Sanderson Farms, which obviously falls in my top 20 number for this week at plus 260. But another reason why I really love him in this market and this week in general is that he ranks sixth on tour in birdie or better percentage from 150 to 175 yards, which we've said is the largest distribution of approach shots that we will see this week. That is in the top three of this field, and combined with the recent form and the fact that his inaccurate driver is going to be nullified for the most part this week, I really like Fox finishes at the top 20 at plus 260.
I'm going to go back into the top 10 market for one more top 10 play before I talk about a top 20 or two, and that is Ben Griffin, top 10 plus 475. I just think he's another one of those Seamus Power types where you just keep riding him on easy golf courses. You just keep riding him in the fall swing. Griffin is coming off an 11th at the Black Desert where he gained over a stroke off the tee. He gained over 5 strokes on approach. He gained 0.7 putting. He gained 0.1 around the green. He's doing everything well right now. I mean, his real skill is approach and putting, which I think is a perfect fit for this golf course, right? We've waxed poetically about the fact that this is a wedges and putting golf course through and through that mitigates off the tee skill. And in a lot of ways, Ben Griffin has that similar Eric Cole skill set where he's a great wedge player. He's a great putter. He's not the best driver of the ball. And that's why I think this golf course, although he's only played here twice before, so he doesn't quite check the course history box, which is probably the biggest reason that has kept me off him as an outright play. I just think the course fit is so strong with Griffin here that he starts getting it going in Vegas. I've got him top 10 plus 475.
Love that. I'm gonna take for my next one to go to the top 20 market and go after Nico Echavarria at plus 550 to finish inside the top 20. There's a couple reasons why I like this play. First, he ranks 10th on tour in birdie or better percentage from that 150 to 175 yard distance, which is one of the best rankings in this field. And then more importantly, there's really two question marks when it comes to Echevarria for the most part, right? So first is his driver play. That's gonna be nullified a lot this week with how short the course is and how easy it's going to be to find fairways. Then the other thing has traditionally been his relatively inconsistent putter, right? And we keep talking about how important it is to putt this week. And I just don't think the market has really caught up to the fact that his putter has started to look a lot better recently. He's gained true strokes putting in 3 of his past 4 tournaments. That includes he flirted with the top 20 finish at the Wyndham. He finished 11th last week at the Black Desert. So that putter has kind of started to turn his game around because that is one of his main 2 weaknesses. And the fact that his other weakness being the driver is going to be largely forgiven this week. I don't think the market has quite caught up yet to Echevarria. So at plus 550 for him to finish inside the top 20 is where I'm going.
I'm going to stay in the top 20 market for one of my favorite plays on the board. I bet him outright as well at 60 to 1. Let's go with Andrew Putnam, top 20, plus 240. We've talked about that skill set of wedges and putting. We've talked about that skill set of don't need to be the best driver of the ball. Andrew Putnam's just another one of those guys. Andrew Putnam, in many ways, has the exact same statistical profile of a Ben Griffin, of an Eric Cole. And he's actually coming off a really strong top 25 finish at a golf course that I didn't think was half as strong as a fit for him as this golf course was across the pond at the Alfred Dunhill, where he gained over 6 strokes on approach. In fact, Putnam has gained over 6.5 strokes ball striking in 2 out of his last 4 starts. So the upside is there. He is one of those players that can get hot with his wedges. He can get hot with his putter. I think he stands a really good chance to win this event. He's got some pretty decent course history here as well. Give me Andrew Putnam, top 20 plus 240.
Love that. I'm gonna go to the first round leader market, and I'm gonna take the chalk in this market, and that's Tom Kim at 28 to 1. I wanted to be. We talked about course fit. There is no better course fit than the guy who's 2 for 2 with 2 wins at this venue. So that's why I love Tom Kim this week. So, but what market do I want to attack? Hated every number that was the top five, top 10, top 20. So that kind of leaves outright in first round leader. I did not like 14, 13 to 15 to 1. That's where he was kind of hovering for the outright. You can get him at 28 to 1 in the first round leader. I think you're gonna take a dart throw on him. Well, you can't really call it dart throwing. He's the leader in the market. But if you're going to take him in any capacity, I think this is the best opportunity to get the most bang for your buck on him. He ranks above the tour average in first round scoring. He's obviously going to come into this week super comfortable, having been 2 for 2 at this course with 2 wins. He just played at the President's Cup. He's coming off fired up after that. And he ranks 21st on tour in birdie or better percentage from 150 to 175 yards. I mean, this is a guy who's looking for to be the first guy to three-peat on tour in quite some time. Do I think he does it this week? Maybe, maybe not. I don't like the number enough at 14-1 to bet him to do it. But I think if you want to back him in any way, it might be worth just a sprinkle. Take him 28 to 1 to lead after Thursday.
Love that. I'm glad you got to Tom Kim there because I think I think he's very dangerous to go for the three-peat. My numbers love him this week. They see a pretty large gap between him and the rest of the field at the top of the board. I don't even think the 12 to 1 betting price is totally unfair. I will stay in the first round leader market. I've got two first round leader plays to close, both at a little bigger odds, a little bit more long shots. I'm going with Ben Silverman, 60 to 1 first round leader. He's coming off a fourth place finish at the Procore Championship, where he gained 8.7 strokes putting, right? And I talk about this many times in my first round leader plays. I'm really looking for elite putters. I'm really looking for players that can shoot 62 because they can go unconscious on the greens and gain 3, 4 strokes putting in a single round. Silverman checks that box for me. He's one of the best putters in this field. I think easy scoring conditions are where you want to deploy him. And I also looked over the last year. The player that I'm going to talk about next in the first round leader market is number one in this category. Ben Silverman is top five, however, but first round scoring average in easy scoring conditions, golf courses where you know you have to get out, go out and get off to a hot start, put up a 6, 7, 8 under par to be in pole position at one of these tournaments. Ben Silverman ranks top five. So he's not afraid to go out there and set the pace. Give me Ben Silverman 60 to 1 in the first round leader market.
A perfect way for me to go out. You kept it easy for me because I was also on Ben Silverman, first round leader. I got him at 65 to 1 this morning. I would still absolutely play him at 60. You mentioned that he ranks fifth in first round scoring on easy courses, which that's great. So that makes me feel even better. But he even just ranked seventh overall in first round scoring on tour. And the reason he can go low on the round is exactly like you said. He can go unconscious on the greens, and I have him as one of the best. I have him as a top five putter in this field, and that's what you would need to do to go unconscious in a round. And another thing is, I think he can stick a lot of his approach shots close here because he ranks 36th on tour in birdie or better percentage from 150 to 175 yards. Again, I just don't want to be too repetitive of what you all just said, but one of the best. He's been unconscious on the greens kind of for a few months now. He gained over 2 true strokes putting at Procore en route to that fourth place finish. He's made the cut in his lone appearance here, and he's a way better golfer now than he was when he made that debut here 5 years ago. So yeah, Ben Silverman 65 or 61, either way. Love that number for him in the first round leader market.
I will close us off here with another first round leader play at 60 to 1. And that is Brendon Todd. 60 to 1, first round leader, Brendon Todd. He ranks number one in that market, in that category that I just talked about in terms of first round scoring average under easy scoring conditions over the last year. Nobody has gotten off to better starts in these types of events than Brendon Todd. I think a large part of that reason is that, again, he's got that exact same profile as your Eric Coles, your Andrew Putnams, your Seamus Powers, uh, your Beau Hosslers, right? Your Tom Hoagies. These are players, your Ben Griffins. These are players that are not necessarily great drivers of the ball. Brendon Todd's one of the shortest players on the PGA Tour. But this is the type of golf course that I think mitigates that. This is the type of golf course where you do not need to be a long hitter. What you need to be is a great wedge player and a great putter. That is how you truly create separation is inside 175 yards here at the Shriners with your wedges and with your putter. So give me Brendon Todd to get off to a hot start. I've got him at 60 to 1 in the first round leader market. That will do it for our best bets episode for the Shriners Hospital for Children Open. As a reminder, our action experts Spencer Aguiar and Nick Bretwish return with host Roberto Arguello tomorrow for our Shriners Hospital for Children Open betting preview right here on the Links and Locks podcast. So for Tony Sartori, I'm your host, Andy Lack, and we will see you back here next week on the Links and Locks podcast.